What's up, everybody? I'm John McClain with FPS Holsters, FPS Outdoors. I am here with the great Cody Leeper from Alpha Pursuit. And today I had a really cool experience where I got to train and practice with Cody in his primary game nowadays, which is long range. And I'll tell you, in like a 5 or 6 hour session, my brain is exploding, and I'm sure I'm going to forget quite a bit about what he told me what to do, how to do it, and be good at it. But um, really, I just wanted to take an opportunity to kind of introduce the idea of precision, PRS stuff, NRL hunters, or even just getting into long range shooting, whether or not it's for hunting or just, going out and being outdoors. And we wanted to kind of show the differences of how amazing you can set up a rifle or how amazing you can set up a rifle when you're on a budget. But real quick, Cody, introduce yourself a little bit and so that people understand just why they should listen to you.
All right, so I'm Cody Leeper. I own Alpha Pursuit. It's my training company I just started up. And I started up because I have over 15 years worth of shooting in the professional space, whether it be, I think I've done 13 different disciplines at this point, from small precision air rifle and small bore stuff, positionally, Junior Olympics, and then moving on to USASA 3-gun, NRL, PRS, IDPA, Steel Challenge, you name it, I've probably shot, especially in the action shooting world. So this is now my love, my passion. Like, I go to 3-gun in the action sports to do work, but when it comes to long range rifle, this is my love, my passion, and where I really like to be. And so I do pretty all right. I've won a couple matches. I'm not awesome, but I have been around and been to a lot of matches, and so I have seen what works, what not works, and I'm very blessed to be able to run setups like this.
Well, and let's not sell himself short. You do hold several national titles when it comes to the multi-gun world. And for anyone that knows anything about multi-gun, basically, if you're a badass pistol shooter, you can show up and pretty much kind of almost guarantee like a top 30 finish at nationals. But you have to be good at loading a shotgun, and then you have to be good at long range. And watching this guy shoot long range at multi-gun nationals, the number of times that I had while you were shooting limited division. So you were actually required to shoot a one power, like a non-magnified optic, and he would smoke me as well as some other top level shooters in 3-gun with a non-power optic when it came to long range. So definitely, if you have an opportunity to come out and train with Cody and you want to learn some stuff about long range shooting, I mean, he blew my mind at least 4 or 5 times today, and that video will be coming out here soon. So make sure you subscribe.
Best part of the day.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my god!
It was a legit insane reaction as far as like the light went off. So, all right. So we're gonna talk a little bit, like I said, about our rifle setup. So we've got a budget build over here, which is gonna cost you around about $1,000. Okay, and that's gonna be for the main parts. Then you have to buy all the little accessories, but we'll get into that. And then Cody's gonna go over his like primo top end of the line kind of rifle setup. Okay, so just starting off real basic, what I've got is a Ruger American Predator in 6.5 Creedmoor, and I've topped that with a Vortex Venom 5 to 25, and then the optic or the bipod that I'm running is from Warren. They make the scope mounts that I typically run, but they also make this Skylon bipod. So all in all, this rifle probably is around the $1,000 to $1,100 mark. And today we found out that you can hit stuff with it at distance. Yep. So that's just a quick breakdown of my rifle setup. Cody, why don't you go over yours?
All right, super easy. So this is exactly how I run this rifle for NRL Hunter competitions in the factory division, where it has to be completely configured from the factory. You can't modify the stock, can't change trigger, can't change parts. If it comes with a brake installed from the factory, you have to use that brake. Seekins made this specifically to be the most competitive rifle in the factory division, and well, now you look down the line and you'll see 40 of them lined up. So they're doing very well. And so these rifles, street price, retail $1,800. And then these Razor HD LHTs from Vortex, which this is a 4.5 to 22. Extremely high-end glass. This is going to be on the $1,200 to $1,300 range. So you're already at $3,000 just for a rifle and scope. Not to mention some higher-end scope rings, an electronic level. And this is a titanium muzzle brake to be able to tame the recoil, but then also it's titanium, so it's lighter, so I can make that 12-pound mark. And then this is a Hatch Out West bipod that is a super very flexible use case scenario bipod where I can go from all the way 4-inch tall prone to reverse kneeling with it on like at 27 inches or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And so that's a $500 bipod, but it has a purpose and we're running a top of the line setup here. So
And I think that's really what we want to talk about in this video is the idea of if you have ever thought about wanting to get into long range shooting and you think that price equals reliability or price equals accuracy, like to a level you're probably right.
yes.
But at the same time, the technology has gotten so good and the manufacturing has gotten so good that it's not always true anymore.
We honestly live in a golden age where you can go to any manufacturer, whether it be scopes, rifles, anything, and have a solid rifle or setup at just about any budget to do whatever game you want, realistically.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. So, like I said, we started with the Ruger American from my side, and basically that was the idea. I wanted to see what can you do if you just bought a, went to Cabela's, Sportsman's Warehouse, Academy, Outdoors, wherever you wanted to, and just got one that was you could easily find on a rack, in a caliber that is very versatile. It's not just meant for precision shooting, but it can be used for hunting and stuff like that. And then the optic, the Vortex Venom, for anyone that's ever shot Vortex stuff, you'd understand that the quality for the price it's kind of a steal, right? And the Vortex Venom, to me, just kind of proves that because I can get the clarity that I need at 25 power for, we were shooting out to 500. What was the longest shot we took today?
We only went out to 700 yards today,
right.
But it's absolutely capable of going beyond 1,000.
At no point did I really I had trouble hitting the 700-yard target when I was messing up. Like it had nothing to do with the rifle.
Right.
I was dancing all over it. It was just these fine little minuscule things that again you were basically teaching and instructing me on. That was the reason why I was missing. And let's also point to the fact you load your own ammunition, right?
Yeah, actually, I run some of my own ammo. I have a person who loads for me, and I also run factory ammo. It depends on what I have time for, what I need, and what I can use. Right. Mm-hmm. So I use a mix of all of it.
And I think that's kind of what I wanted to prove today with our training session. And I was just shooting our Armscore 140 grain ELD match. Yeah, it performed flawlessly. I was very surprised with the accuracy, to be perfectly honest with you, because I don't really have much experience with accuracy for the long range stuff. But when you're looking at factory ammunition and, you typically are just going to, you're not going to get the same as like a hand load. But I think today what I've proved to myself again is that a lot of the times the gear that you run will be way more effective and efficient than you could ever be as a human being.
Yes.
So good enough is really kind of good enough. Now, once you start getting to those insane matches where you're shooting 1,400 yards and you're shooting a 10-inch target at 14, that's a sub MOA target.
Yes.
Okay, yes, little things will cause, issues. But for something like NRL Hunter, it wasn't meant to be an arms race. It was meant to be like a situational scenario where it tested your skill.
Yeah. Right.
To be able to make decisions on the fly, like how to set up properly, how to range, how to make sure you know how to shoot your rifle and how to dial your scope in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just a rifle game. It is a overall shooter and gear game, like total system, right? Because everything has to be stored in your backpack, including your tripod. If you have an observation device like binoculars, they have to be in your pack, on the tripod, or in a bino harness or something. And you have a time limit to find, range, and engage all these targets. On top of that, how can I efficiently use all the gear at my disposal for who knows what positions I'm running up to? Because the stages are blind, like for the most part, and you run up to a position, and you're like, well, how am I going to shoot this efficiently? And so, set up like this, I always encourage people like, oh, I don't have the right gear for it. No, absolutely you do. Because guess what? I could probably put this rifle in the hands of John Pinch, Matt Alwine, the legends of the sport, Rusty Ulmer, you name it, and they'll probably beat 90% of the field still, right? Shooting factory ammo with this exact setup.
Absolutely, and I'm lucky enough to be able to work and be sponsored by Vortex, so a lot of the glass and stuff I get, I kind of get spoiled in. However, like I said, I wanted to do a budget build, and going from a budget build, let's talk about this for a second. So you've got your basic setup right here. What would you absolutely think would be like the top 3 things that you either need to add to your gear or you need to upgrade when it comes to, a setup like this, like a budget setup?
Number one thing I'd say for NRL Hunter specifically is going to be your glass. Right? That's why I run the Razor HD line, is because there's a lot of times where we start at 6:30 in the morning, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and there's still shadows across the valleys, and we can't see targets very well because they're hidden in the shadows, and they're a gray target and a gray colored shadow with a grayish background, right? And so if you have a subpar piece of glass, like early mornings, that's where that piece of glass would struggle, just because it doesn't quite gather the light, doesn't have the glass clarity that the Razor line does. It's capable. It's just in specific scenarios like that, like lower light, I'm 100% going to see more targets with this scope than I will with that scope. Mm-hmm. And so glass clarity and quality is one of those things I put up there probably as number one. You need to be able to see targets to hit them, right?
Yeah.
And when you get off your binos, you're like, oh, it's right there. Really obvious. You get behind your scope, you're like, where did it go? Mm-hmm. Right? That can be very frustrating as well. The second one, I would say, a good pair of laser rangefinding binos with ballistics in them. Okay. To be honest.
Another mind-blown moment today was absolutely, Vortex is working with geoballistics, and he showed me what his rangefinder does with the app. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it doesn't even have to do with just ranging a target. We talked about the scenario of hitting a deer, it kind of running off a little bit, and you're not quite sure the general area. You think you know where it was, but you know that once you get down into the valley and go up that mountainside, you're going to go, I'm so lost. I have no clue where I am.
100%.
And he was able to laze it, tag it, and then he could just follow his app. So insane technology out there that I'm just now being introduced to.
And then I'd say the last most important good thing to have would be a good tripod. A good tripod, right? There's a lot of good tripod options out there, but if you took away my bipod for a match, I'd still be very capable, because I have a support bag I can put on a barricade. I can put my backpack that I'm carrying all my gear on something. I can have a front support in some way. Clipping it into the tripod's an option, but I also can use that tripod for a rear support on those options. So the three most critical pieces of gear to me: the binos, the scope, and then a tripod.
Yeah. Well, there's so much we can cover in this video. We're gonna have to make another one here, but yes. So tripod, the scaffolding building that he showed me that you can do with two pieces of tripod to increase your shooting is insane. Now, you know a lot more about it. I had a chance to try and shoot an NRL Hunter match, and then work got in the way. Mm-hmm. But for those people that are interested in maybe looking a little bit more into NRL Hunter, mm-hmm. and maybe even going and shooting a match, where is the best way to get involved or get started?
Honestly, the best way, just like 3-gun, show up to a match, right? NRL Hunter did this amazing thing. It's called the skills division. Your rifle doesn't have to go within any of the divisional requirements. You can bring whatever you want, as long as it's not a 338 shooting pills at 3,500 feet per second and killing steel. Right, let's keep it reasonable. Like, if a person has a 20-pound PRS gun in 6mm, cool. They're not going to do power factor. They don't care about weight. You're just there to shoot. You also, when you get on the stage for your first stage, you can ask ROs all the questions you want. Where are the targets? How do I do this? What should I be doing right now? Right? You get coached throughout the whole time, and then towards the end of the match, guess what? You just be like, hey, I got this. I'm skills. I don't want any help unless I ask for it. And they say, all right, and they'll let you flounder the whole stage if you want. Right? And it teaches you kind of the trial by fire, and actually gets you immersed in it. And you learn so many more lessons just by going and doing. Right? And then also there is the option, sometimes you can go watch a match. Right? Mm-hmm. You have to clear it with the match director, and it has to be, be approved, but just watching a match. Definitely get out there and just do it. Right? $1,000 setup, or Grandpappy's old 30-06, just go shoot a match.
Well, there you go. And I full-heartedly agree. And I also find that, anytime you go to the anything in the firearms world, and especially in the competition side of things, you end up finding some really, really cool people, mm-hmm. that you can have lifelong friendships with. I mean, Cody and I, we were talking about it earlier today, how it's been 7 years since I last saw him. Mm-hmm. I just happened to be here at work and said, hey, let's set up a range day, and met up for beers last night, and it was like nothing had changed. So you'll meet some really amazing people, and don't be afraid of making mistakes, because the fact of the matter is, we as human beings tend to learn way more from the mistakes we make rather than getting it right the first time.
You could kind of consider me a pro. You do not want to know the list of mistakes I made this year. It was a lot. At the end of the day, we're not out there to necessarily win. We're out there to learn and train and be better every day. If we win, cool. But realistically, we're still like, oh, you can't get complacent. You got to keep training for the next one.
Yeah, and I feel it's always kind of a self-inward battle, really. Like, I just know how I performed last time, and my goal isn't to win. It's I want to perform better than last time and continue to build on that. So, well, guys, that's it for this video. But make sure you subscribe and all that fun stuff, because I'm going to be releasing some more, because we're going to talk some more. But we're going to end this one here. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.